In my first life, when I married the Crown Prince of the Duke of Britain, I rose early and retired late, diligently managing the household. Yet the Crown Prince treated me with cold indifference, maintaining only polite formality. Before I turned 30, I worked myself to death. Before my passing, my birth family was discussing marrying my younger half-sister to me as a second wife. After my first rebirth, I began living in luxury, indulging in fine food and drink. Unexpectedly, the family fortune flourished even more. The children became more obedient, and the servants grew more loyal. The Crown Prince also cherished me more deeply. Yet, in this life too, I did not survive past 30. I finally understood my death was no accident. Reborn once more. I vowed to uncover those who secretly harmed me and have them torn limb from limb. When Yu called my name for the third time in that shrill, clipped voice, I knew I had returned once more. Before my eyes lay the familiar autumn heat soft canopy and jade ruby ornament in my chamber. Everything was as familiar as could be. Madam, are you all right? Yu's voice continued to pierce my ears like a demon's chant. I rubbed my temples and said, I'm fine. Though irritated, I forced myself to keep my tone measured. After all, Yu was a loyal servant, but anyone subjected to the same cycle repeated 3 times would inevitably feel profound weariness. My name is Song Qingwan, wife of the Crown Prince of the Duke of Britain. This marks my 10th year since marrying into the Duke's household. When I wed Crown Prince Xie Zhao in my first life, my heart brimmed with love and anticipation. I honored my in-laws, treated my sister-in-law kindly, managed the vast household affairs, rose early and slept late each day, diligently running the household, earning a reputation as a virtuous and capable woman. Yet Xie Zhao always treated me with cold politeness, never opening his heart. Later I learned Xie Zhao had once been betrothed to a childhood sweetheart, but she passed away before their wedding. He languished in grief for years afterward. Had it not been for the 3 great disgraces of filial piety and his parents' relentless pressure, he might never have married at all. Upon learning this, my mind was still clouded. I clung to the notion that the past was irretrievable, believing that by striving to be his devoted wife, I could eventually warm his heart. Yet reality proved my hopes misguided. Even as I worked myself to death, Xie Zhao never showed me a shred of tenderness. When my family saw my condition deteriorate, they proposed bringing my younger sister, Song Qingning, to be his second wife. Xie Zhao merely responded with a faint burdened with endless pain and regret. I reincarnated for the first time. This time, I returned to the 10th year of my marriage, merely 3 or 4 years before my death, facing my rigid, stern mother-in-law, my meddlesome sister-in-law who stirred trouble at the slightest provocation, my spoiled and precious younger sister-in-law, and my husband cold as ice from start to finish. I gave up. Having died once, I would never again pour my heart out for these cold-blooded in-laws and relatives, nor would I hold the 4 characters virtuous and dutiful as my guiding principle. If my sister-in-law wanted to seize control of the household, I'd gladly hand it over. My mother-in-law was stunned by this, and in a rare moment of warmth, she took my hand. Zhao is the heir. This family estate will eventually pass into your hands. Between the lines, she still wanted me to shoulder the burden and toil endlessly. All these years, my mother-in-law had actually been satisfied with me, yet she consistently acted overly critical, propping up my sister-in-law, Lady Li, to oppose me, a master of imperial balancing acts. Looking back now, what kind of balancing act is needed in a mere provincial mansion? What a load of nonsense. I rolled my eyes inwardly and instructed Yu to hire a physician. We exaggerated my condition, declaring that without rest and recuperation, death was imminent. This wasn't entirely untrue. In fact, 4 years later, years of overwork, exhaustion, and depression would finally claim my life from a mere bout of wind cold. After shedding the burdens of stewardship, I devoted myself to tending flowers and herbs, indulging in rich foods and fine wines. When irritated, I'd scold my concubines or pick fights with the current matriarch. Lady Li. In my past life, Lady Li had done exactly this if her courtyard ran short by half a pound of oil, or the servants' wages were delayed by 2 hours. She'd secretly poison my eyes. This time, I'd make her taste the agony of clutching everything tightly, yet possessing nothing at all. When my mood was good, I'd tend to the children. Life couldn't have been more blissful. Speaking of children, Xia Zhao and I had a legitimate son named Xia Yun. The boy was wise beyond his years, receiving his first lessons at 3, and he adored me deeply. But when Xia Yun turned 7, the current Duke of Ying, Xia Zhao's father, insisted on raising him personally and had the child moved to the outer courtyard. Over time, Xia Yun and I grew distant. This lifetime, I spent most of my time trying to win my son back. As for Xia Zhao, I had given up on him entirely. Yet, contrary to my wishes, since I let go and stopped catering to him, Xia Zhao began to look at me differently. I no longer sent him pastries, soups, or clothes I made by hand. I certainly didn't go out of my way to ask after his well-being. Xia Zhao went from unease to confusion, then stiffly learned to appease me. He would condescend to ask what troubles me. Why I've changed so suddenly. This was something utterly unheard of in my previous life. But I no longer had the energy to play along. I merely replied dismissively that my health was failing, that I wouldn't be able to attend to him anymore if he felt neglected. He could take a few more concubines. In truth, Xia Zhao had 2 concubines, both taken as secondary wives after our marriage, concubine Hu and concubine Ji. Yet Xia Zhao showed little interest in women. These concubines were mere decorations, brought in by my mother-in-law solely to keep me in check. Naturally, Xia Zhao rejected my suggestion, watching his puzzled, troubled expression, utterly baffled. I could only offer a cold laugh. Later, Xia Zhao finally grasped the meaning, realized my heart had grown cold. He began courting me, buying me fabrics for clothes, commissioning jewelry, and carefully coaxing me. Seeing him like this brought me immense satisfaction. All these years married to Xia Zhao, I'd agonized daily over how to please him, grieved over his lack of response, and consumed myself with internal turmoil. Now Xia Zhao gets to taste that bitter pill himself. Having lived 2 lifetimes, I've come to understand Xia Zhao's heart. It's not that he didn't love me, he just resisted me at first. Buried in his responsibilities, he gradually overlooked my feelings, growing accustomed to my quiet understanding and constant care. In his eyes, I was invincible, flawless in everything I did. So why would he need to offer tenderness or concern? Understanding this brought me no comfort, nor did I wish to forgive him. I only felt contempt for him. Only by losing me did he realize how utterly dependent he was on me. Just as in my first life, Xia Zhao never cared for me until I died. Now I see clearly. I will never beg for his love again. He is merely a decoration to me. Later, my health steadily improved, and my mind grew increasingly clear. Without household responsibilities, my mother-in-law had no grounds to berate me, and my sister-in-law stopped demanding this and that daily. As the sister of the current empress, my powerful family background and lavish dowry ensured I never lacked for money. Just as everything began to improve, I suddenly fell into a prolonged, lingering illness. Though the illness itself was not severe, I eventually found myself on the brink of death. In my final moments, I suddenly realized my deaths in these 2 lifetimes were no accidents. Someone must have secretly poisoned me. Who could this person be? Whose path had I blocked, that they sought my death so relentlessly? Was it Xia Zhao's concubine, or the Li family, or perhaps my maternal half-sister? Song Qingning, whoever it was, I would not passively await my doom. Returning to this world for the 3rd time, I would tear the one who harmed me to shreds. Past events unfolded before me as vividly as yesterday, stealing my resolve. I finally exhaled a long breath. Qiu Yu timidly inquired, "Madam, your complexion looks dreadful. Should we summon a physician? All these years in the Duke's mansion, I'd been cautious in every word and deed, never daring to seek a physician for even minor ailments. But I'd done this before. And now it came effortlessly. Yes, of course we must. Not just any physician, one who's greedy for money and will spout nonsense. Though puzzled, Chuyue obeyed my command and went to make arrangements. Before long, Dr. Lee from Huichun Hall, the same one from my past life, was summoned. Without even taking my pulse, Dr. Lee, guided by my instructions, diagnosed me with yin-yang deficiency and blocked meridians, prescribing long-term rest and recuperation. Upon hearing of my illness, the household staff came to visit. I naturally handed over my pass token, freeing myself from the duties of steward. Facing my mother-in-law's hesitant and conflicted gaze, I didn't even bat an eyelid. After all, these matters weren't the most pressing. The immediate priority was to hire a skilled female physician to stay by my side around the clock, inspecting my personal belongings and meals. Just as I was pondering this, Chiu reported. The young master has returned and specifically requested to see you. Over the years, Xia Zhao spent half his time sleeping in the outer study, immersed in official duties. The rest he spent in my chambers. Was I supposed to indulge him now, playing along to satisfy him? Tell the crown prince I'm unwell and might pass my illness to him. Ask him not to visit for the time being, I said coolly. Chiu looked worried. But isn't that? What's wrong with that? When my very life is at stake, what use is marital affection? Besides, I'd long seen through Xia Zhao and had no desire to play along with his pretense. But even as I spoke, Xia Zhao entered before I could finish. He was always the epitome of a proper gentleman, every gesture and word exuding effortless grace. I heard you're ill. Have you taken your medicine? Xia Zhao's expression remained composed, only a hint of concern flickering in his eyes. I studied him for a moment, my thoughts racing. Could he be the one who poisoned me? They say, the sun and moon are the closest yet most distant. Husband and wife are the dearest yet most estranged. Over the years, though Xia Zhao treated me poorly, his character wasn't inherently bad. He wasn't ruthless enough in official circles. Would he really poison someone close to him? Not to boast, but I came from a distinguished family, possessed beauty, managed the household with wisdom, and bore him a legitimate son. If I were to die, Xia Zhao would have to remarry, yet had struggled to find a wife superior to me. But perhaps he simply wanted me to make room for someone dearer to his heart. I'd always assumed Xia Zhao had little interest in women, but perhaps he had a secret mistress somewhere I didn't know about. The thought made me hesitate to stir the pot. Instead, I said, I'm fine. Just terribly exhausted. A little rest will do me good. Xia Zhao nodded. The household affairs have been overwhelming these past years. You've worked hard. Resting is good for you. After he spoke, I sensed he intended to stay the night. I hastily interjected. The physician advised against intimacy during this period. Perhaps you should visit Consort Ji instead. I hear her father has passed away. My illness had nothing whatsoever to do with marital relations, and Xia Zhao knew full well this was an excuse. He stared at me intently, his expression shifting between light and shadow. After a moment, he rose and said, very well. Like hell, it was fine. I couldn't be bothered to see him off. Instead, plotting where to begin. The next day, I made some snacks for my son, Xia Yun, and brought them to him in the outer study. The child beamed with delight at my arrival, burrowing into my embrace and chattering away. I soothed him gently, saying, Mother will visit more often when she has time. You must study diligently. Xia Yun nodded like a chick pecking at grain. Son will study hard. Children are young and easily placated. In my first life, my mother-in-law always scolded me, saying boys spoiled by their mothers grew useless, and ordered me to stop visiting him. I obeyed. Yet as he grew distant from me. This time, I would never tolerate such a thing. I could do without Xia Zhao, but I couldn't abandon the child I'd born with such difficulty. After soothing the boy, I submitted a memorial to the palace. I needed to enter the palace to visit my elder sister, Empress Song, and request a skilled female physician while I was there. Next, I began clearing out my courtyard with decisive efficiency. If my deaths in the previous 2 lives were caused by others, then the perpetrators must have been those closest to me. Consider my position. As the wife of a duke's heir, I may not have enjoyed the security of the imperial harem, but I was still the matriarch of a prominent household. If someone could reach me unnoticed, they must undoubtedly be an insider. Yesterday, I had every food and drink item delivered from the kitchen inspected with silver needles, and none showed any issues. Yet I cannot be certain whether they poisoned me after I fell ill or if I've been slowly poisoned over time. My enemy lurks in the shadows while I stand in the light. Defenses are futile. I must trace the source. Beyond the servants brought from the Song household as part of my dowry, 2 belong to my mother-in-law, and 1 maid is close to my sister-in-law, Lady Li. Since one can never truly know another's heart, I saw no point in wasting effort. I had Qiu Yu find a pretext to dismiss these 3 outright. As for whether my mother-in-law might be displeased, that was beyond my concern. Next, I had concubine Ji and concubine who relocated to the westernmost part of the courtyard. I even provided them with a small kitchen and instructed them not to come to the main hall to pay respects unless absolutely necessary. Both concubines were house-born maidservants of the Xia family, lacking in worldly wisdom and perspective. To say they would dare plot against me was an overstatement. After all, in the prestigious Duke of Yingong's household, even if I were to die, they would never be elevated to the main wife's position. The future concubines brought in might prove far less generous than I, but if they were incited by villains, working in cahoots with outsiders to commit foolish acts, that was another matter entirely. I dismissed them, keeping them far from my courtyard, to ensure my safety. Well, did the 2 concubines express any discontent? After settling everything, I asked Qiu Yue. Qiu Yue snorted coldly. Concubine who wept in secret, claiming the mistress despised her and no one would stand up for her. Concubine Ji said nothing, only instructing the kitchen to prepare silver ear fungus and lotus seed porridge for her. This concubine who is quite pretty, but her brain is filled with mush. Moving them to the west wing is a bit remote, but I didn't stop Xia Zhao from sleeping with them. Besides, their new quarters are more spacious and come with a kitchenette. It's a win-win all around. Concubine Ji seems to be the sensible one here. I'm not afraid of the sensible ones. What I fear are the fools who get easily manipulated. Next, I set my sights on Mrs. Li. If anyone had openly opposed me these years, it was undoubtedly this sister-in-law. Like me, Mrs. Li came from a distinguished family. In fact, she was a distant cousin of my mother-in-law, which earned her greater favor in her eyes. Thus, Mrs. Li had long resented my role managing the household. She's ambitious and cunning, always scheming to overshadow me and seize control of the household. Her motives are transparent. What I truly don't understand is my mother-in-law. If she genuinely favored Mrs. Li, she should have encouraged her to build harmony between our households. Only through mutual affection and unity can a family uphold its integrity. Besides, Xia Zhao is the crown prince. No matter how capable Li Shi may be, the Duke of Yingong's estate may not be hers in the future. Any effort she puts in would only be sewing a wedding dress for someone else. But my mother-in-law is different. She openly and covertly favors Li Shi, hinting for her to oppose me, stirring up enmity between us sisters-in-law until we became like water and fire. The poor atmosphere in our household these years is entirely the result of my mother-in-law stirring up trouble. In my first life, I was young and naive, often led by the nose by her. Now that I no longer manage the household affairs and avoid conflict with Lady Li, my mother-in-law must be the most anxious. Come to think of it, when I was gravely ill back then, could Lady Li have had a hand in it? But then again, that doesn't add up. In my first life, I did indeed clash with Lady Li. It was possible she sought to harm me while I was ill, but in my second life, I had long since relinquished my duties as housekeeper. Lady Li relished the power she held. Why would she risk harming me? There was no mortal enmity between us. The one who attacked me couldn't have been Lady Li. Then who else could it be? After much deliberation, could it be my maternal half-sister? Song Qingning. Song Qingning is over 10 years younger than me. She was only 5 when I married. So our bond was never deep. Over the years since I entered the Duke of Ying's household, I occasionally invited her to stay for a few days. Could she have grown ambitious, nurtured by my kindness, and now seeks to replace me? Yet after I fell gravely ill, she only visited twice with my mother briefly each time. She likely had no chance to act, with danger lurking everywhere. I couldn't untangle the threads of suspicion. Seeing me frown, fret, and clench my teeth in frustration, Yu feared I might be having a hysterical fit. She hurriedly brewed a bowl of calming tea for me. Early the next morning, I entered the palace. Empress Song was my elder sister by 5 years, and our bond had always been close. Today's timing was fortuitous. The crown prince happened to be visiting Empress Song, allowing me to exchange a few words of family news with this noble nephew. 3 years older than Xiaoyun, the crown prince was a fair-skinned, slender youth of impeccable manners. Next time, Auntie must bring cousin Yun along. I wish to play kuju with him, the crown prince said. I ruffled his hair and promised. Certainly, certainly. The Xie family always refused to let me bring Xiaoyun to the palace, claiming it would invite suspicion. But we are blood relatives. Even the emperor and empress don't hold such reservations. Yet as subjects, they constantly invoke the virtues of heaven, earth, sovereign, and kin. I've been far too accommodating until now. After the crown prince departed, I presented my request to my sister. Empress Song smiled. So you wish to restore your health and bear another child? 4 years. Xiaoyun has been my only child. My family line is indeed rather thin. I shook my head. I want someone well-versed in poisonology to protect my safety. My sister's phoenix-like eyes narrowed sharply, her brows furrowing. Someone wants to harm you. Who would be so bold? Not exactly, I replied. I just had a dream. Better safe than sorry. I then recounted the gist of my past and present lives to my sister. She pondered for a moment before saying, You're right. Not just you, even I tread on thin ice trying to preserve this imperial fortune. We must be cautious. Rest assured, sister, they'll find someone immediately. They'll send them to your residence under the pretense of health care. My sister's efficiency was beyond question. I nodded. With us sisters united, nothing can trouble us. When Yuner grows up, she'll assist the crown prince too. My sister smiled faintly. Everything will unfold as you say, little sister. The matter proceeded smoothly, lifting my spirits. Returning home, I planned to soak in a bath and enjoy a fine meal only to find Xia Zhao waiting for me. All these years, I'd been the one waiting anxiously for Xia Zhao, hoping he'd notice me. This was the first time he'd waited for me to return. An indescribable satisfaction welled up inside me. I strode proudly into my chambers, surrounded by maids and servants, and sat down with deliberate grace, gazing at Xia Zhao's expressionless face. I suddenly felt like laughing. He truly resembled the Duke of Ying, both men of restraint and endurance, treating never showing emotion as their life's goal. If he could endure it, then so be it. After a tense standoff, seeing I wouldn't speak, Xia Zhao finally asked, Did you go to the palace? I nodded. I wanted sister to find me a female physician skilled in physical conditioning. It'll be convenient for future medical care. After that, we both fell silent. Xia Zhao had always been a man of few words, but I used to be good at reading between the lines and finding things to say to liven up the atmosphere. Now, if he didn't speak, I wouldn't either. We could just let it hang there. After all, we were an old married couple. seeing me constantly fiddling with the jade bracelet on my wrist. Xia Zhao finally couldn't resist. I heard you went to the outer study yesterday to see Yuner, sent away several servants, and even went into the palace early this morning. I looked up at him, implying, "Do you have a problem with that?" A flicker of bewilderment crossed Xia Zhao's eyes as his thin lips parted. You've always been generous and proper, thoughtful in your actions. Lately, have you been troubled by something? He noticed rather quickly this time. My actions must have been too conspicuous, but I had no choice. Survival comes first. After a moment's thought, I replied, "Nothing is wrong. I'm merely unwell." Which made me reflect on life's transience. I might die any day now. I can't leave regrets behind. Xia Zhao looked even more perplexed. You're ill, yet you're running about everywhere, acting recklessly. I sneered coldly. Chasing away a few servants with ulterior motives counts as reckless behavior. Visiting my own flesh and blood son isn't considerate enough. Going to see my blood sister is running around. The Duke of England's household sure has some strict rules. This was the first time I'd ever mocked Xia Zhao so ruthlessly. How does the saying go? A man hasn't truly lived until he's been scolded by his own wife. It was my duty to enrich Xia Zhao's life experience, to let him understand the warmth of a wife's affectionate reprimand. Unaccustomed to my sharp tongue, Xia Zhao froze momentarily. I shot him a contemptuous glance and said coolly, "If your highness has no further business, this humble wife shall take her medicine and retire." The implication was clear. Get lost. Seeing my coldness, Xia Zhao's eyes flickered with confusion and irritation. What exactly are you upset about? Have I done something wrong? Have I wronged you? He actually dared to ask if had wronged me. I was speechless, staring skyward in disbelief. After a moment's thought, I decided to stop playing word games with him, lest he continue to wallow in his self-righteousness. I hear your superior, Lord Yang, is stern and rarely jokes with subordinates, yet privately, he draws eyebrows for Lady Yang, the emperor, burdened with state affairs and ruling over all under heaven. Once sang a folk song for my sister, Empress Song. I lashed out without mercy. As a husband, what have you done well? Tell me, what have you, Xia Zhao, ever done for me? Song Qingwan, name one thing, and I'll admit I've wronged you. Xia Zhao was stumped by my question. He stood there blankly for a moment before stammering. He must have realized it too that all along. Only I had been giving, while he was nothing but a heartless bastard. A hypocrite who wanted to have his cake and eat it too. Under my furious glare, the wretch actually fled in a daze. What a coward. After he left, Qiu Yu approached, trembling slightly, and said, "The crown prince nearly tripped over the threshold when he left." I asked anxiously, "Is the threshold all right?" 2 days later, my sister, Empress Song, sent me a female physician. This physician, Tan Fong, was the daughter of the chief physician of the Imperial Medical Academy. She had studied medicine since childhood and was no less skilled than any man. She first took my pulse and said thoughtfully, "Your constitution is sound, madam, and your body shows no major issues. You only suffer from some iron deficiency. Give me a few days to regulate your condition, and you'll recover quickly." I nodded, feeling slightly reassured. At least for now, I was safe. 2 days later, Xia Zhao seemed to have come to some realization. He sent someone to deliver a precious jade bracelet to me. I held the bracelet up to the sunlight. Its color, its translucency, it must have cost a fortune. Qiu Yu chimed in. The young master finally knows how to win your favor. Seems one can't just be virtuous all the time. Occasional tantrums help. All these years of hardship haven't been in vain. I smiled without comment and passed the bracelet to Tan Fong. After Tan Fong left, Qiu Yu murmured, "Madam, this isn't quite right. I know you favor the physician's daughter, but this was a gift from the crown prince after all." Indeed, Xia Zhao rarely gave me anything, even Qiu knew that. I shrugged, sighing wistfully. The child is dead, and the wet nurse arrives. Who needs it? While my days flowed smoothly and peacefully, Xia Zhao's were the opposite. The servant in the outer study mentioned that one night, Xia Zhao even ran out of spare undergarments. He took it out on the servants attending him, lashing out fiercely. Xia Zhao, that man, always feigned virtue and righteousness. It was rare to see him display such raw emotion. Truthfully, his servants weren't to blame. Ever since I married into the household, I prided myself on being virtuous and capable, refusing any help from the household's needlework room for Xia Zhao's garments. Every thread on his person came from my own hands. Now that I'd suddenly withdrawn my care, Xia Zhao was left stranded, the heir to the Duke of Britain. Without even a change of undergarments or socks, it would be laughable if told to others. I secretly chuckled for a while, but to avoid giving others ammunition, I summoned the head of the needlework room and berated her. This household can do without anyone else, but not the heir. Do you expect him to serve the country bare-bottomed? Is this how you conduct yourselves? Who taught you such ways, you heartless harlots? This stewardess was a confidant of Lady Li, who had always opposed me. Now, head bowed, enduring my scolding, she was utterly unable to speak her grievances. I heard she later parroted my words to Lady Li, who flew into such a rage she smashed 2 teacups. I then ordered concubine Ji and concubine Hu to work through the night, demanding they complete 5 sets of bedclothes within 3 days. Concubine Ji said nothing, diligently sewing in her room, but concubine Hu seethed with resentment, dragging her feet. By the deadline, she hadn't even finished half. I took no leniency and deducted her entire month's allowance. Qiu reported that concubine Hu wept in the courtyard, claiming I was being cruel and bullying her. I instructed Qiu to deliver this message. Disrespecting the mistress warrants double punishment, all allowances revoked and confinement for 6 months. Concubine Hu was stunned, then promptly locked away by the matrons and maidservants. Xia Zhao soon received the undergarments made for him by the needlework room, concubine Ji, and concubine Hu, yet he instantly recognized they weren't my handiwork. After all, these garments were nowhere near as finely crafted as mine, nor nearly as comfortable, but he was a man of considerable old-fashioned gentlemanly grace, valuing frugality over material desires. He would never lower himself to beg me to make him underwear or socks. Beyond that, the light medicinal meals, midnight snacks, and fresh pastries that suited his taste vanished entirely. Not just Xia Zhao, even the young servant in his study voiced complaints. This was the truth of it: is easy to slip from frugality into extravagance, but hard to return from extravagance to frugality. Seeing my resolve to make him sulk, Xia Zhao grew deeply troubled. He sent me gifts several times, but I passed them on to others. Xia Zhao, accustomed to his aloofness, couldn't bring himself to make overtures. So he sent Xia Quan to see me instead. Xia Quan was the eldest son of Xia Zhao's wet nurse and his most capable subordinate. Back in my first life, because I cared about Xia Zhao, I often summoned Xia Quan to the inner courtyard for discussions. My goal was to understand this husband better and find common ground with him. Lately, I hadn't sought him out at all, yet here he was, showing up on his own, standing in the courtyard. Xia Quan first greeted me with eager courtesy before reporting on Xia Zhao's recent work schedule, emphasizing the particular hardships of his duties. He knew precisely what to say and what to omit, serving as a long-standing lubricant between Xia Zhao and me. Not wishing to put him in a difficult position, I simply said, "I am but a woman, unfamiliar with the affairs of men. There is no need for you to come and inform me of such matters in the future." Xia Quan's face stiffened. He hurriedly replied, "Madam, why such modesty? In truth, over the years, the young master has held you in the highest regard. Please do not let such trivial matters create distance between you." I remained silent, only giving him a cold smile that said, "Do you even believe that yourself?" Xie Quan's dark face flushed crimson as he bowed his head. The young master. He's cold on the outside but warm at heart. He's utterly devoted to you, madam. Just the other day, he asked me how to win his wife's favor. Me. What a loyal servant. I rubbed my temples and said, then teach him well. With that, I waved him off. Qiu Yu hurried forward. The lady is unwell. We should leave now. Xie Quan's attitude perfectly reflected Xie Zhao's intentions. Even after experiencing this once, I still found it utterly baffling. There truly are people like this in the world, unresponsive when led, yet retreating when struck. I had been so kind to him before, yet he remained unmoved. Only now that I've withdrawn that kindness has he suddenly repented. Human nature is truly base. Xie Zhao is the basest of the base. As I was inwardly cursing, someone reported, "Lady, there's news from Li Fu." My expression hardened. Have him come in to report. Li Fu was a servant from my dowry, entrusted with managing my silk shop in the capital. He was always shrewd and capable. That's why I assigned him specific tasks and he never disappointed. When Li Fu arrived, I cut straight to the point. Have you ascertained who exactly resides in that mansion? From the moment I was reborn, I had instructed Li Fu to have someone follow Xie Zhao. My intuition told me my death was undoubtedly connected to him. Li Fu handled matters with great care. Not long ago, he discovered Xie Zhao had a private residence in Chang'an Lane, where he would visit roughly every fortnight. Humph. It looked every bit like keeping a mistress, hiding a lover in a golden house. Li Fu knew my mood must be foul. Bowing respectfully, he reported, over the past few days, I've discovered the residence is occupied by a woman surnamed Shi, about 20 years old. She has 2 maidservants and no other relatives. Then, gauging my expression, he added, I believe the young master likely has no romantic connection with this Shi. He's never spent the night in Changle district. Each visit is brief. Perhaps she's the widow of an old acquaintance, and the young master is simply looking after her. The wife of an old friend. Not necessarily. In a flash, I suddenly recalled that Xie Zhao's deceased fiancé also bore the surname Shi. Shifang, niece of the loyal and valiant Marquis Shi Guocheng. The year I married into the Duke of Ying's household was agonizing. I couldn't fathom why my husband remained so cold, refusing even to speak a word to me. I'd seen how my brother and sister-in-law interacted, knowing what a married couple should be like. Even my parents, after decades together, still shared moments of laughter and tenderness. Xie Zhao's behavior baffled me. If he despised me, why had he sought my hand in marriage? My elder sister was the empress, bearing the crown prince. Daughters of the Song family never lacked suitors. Later, my sister summoned my mother-in-law to the palace twice for a stern talking to. Only then did my mother-in-law tell me that Xie Zhao had once been close to a daughter of the Shi family, and the 2 families had nearly arranged a marriage. But Shi Fengfei had a short life, passing away at just 15. I remember my mother-in-law holding my hand and saying, Zhao finds it hard to forget his former love. That only proves his enduring affection. As long as you become his wise and supportive wife, he will surely have a place for you in his heart. That load of bullshit successfully duped me, turning me into his slave for over a decade. Looking back now, that Shi girl must have either faked her death or feigned death. That bastard Xie Zhao surely wanted to relive the past, which is why he tried to kill me to make room for Shi Fengfei. Even though I no longer feel anything for Xie Zhao, my heart still aches bitterly. 10 years of cultivation earns a shared boat ride. 100 years earns a shared pillow. This villain is truly heartless. Thinking back to my second life, how he feigned deep affection while plotting my demise fills me with utter revulsion. What should I do? If my opponent is Xie Zhao, I'm utterly defenseless. As long as I remain in the Duke of Ying's residence, I cannot escape his relentless, pervasive schemes. For now, divorce seemed the only solution. But divorce, easier said than done. In my previous life, even as I lay dying, My birth family still sought to marry Song Qingning to me. They would never support my escape. Even my sister, Empress Song, who had always cherished me, would surely not abandon the Duke of Ying's Manzai vital ally for the crown prince. Moreover, if I stubbornly insisted on leaving, my son Xie Yun would face unimaginable hardship. In this world, I could not take my own child with me, yet between life and death, there was no room for hesitation. Since I could not leave, the only option was to have Xie Zhao killed. Our dynasty's laws clearly state, a husband who kills his wife faces only exile, while a wife who kills her husband is sentenced to be beheaded. To survive, I must plot meticulously. Before I could devise a plan to eliminate Xie Zhao without arousing suspicion, the physician Tan Fong suddenly arrived with urgent news. Her expression grave. She said, "Lady, please dismiss your attendants." Knowing this must be significant, I dismissed Qiu Yu and the others, leaving only Tan Fong in the room. Tan Fang's expression shifted several times before she finally spoke. "Madam, by the Empress' command, I dare not slacken my duties. Previously, your pulse was steady and healthy, showing only symptoms of yin deficiency, yet I sensed something amiss. Only after meticulous examination in recent days did I discover. You have been poisoned." I gasped. Despite such caution, I still hadn't evaded it. How desperately did Xie Zhao want me dead? Tan Fong continued. "I examined your daily meals and found no issues. However, I detected a toxin in the donkey hide gelatin paste you regularly consume. This poison originates from an extremely rare toxic mushroom. It gradually weakens the body. Once the toxin accumulates to a certain level, even a common cold could prove fatal. So it was a common cold that killed me. The method was too insidious, it took me 2 tries to grasp it." Tan Fong handed me the bottle of donkey hide gelatin paste. "The dosage inside is very slight. Taking it for a year or 2 wouldn't cause harm. But over time, it would inevitably shorten one's lifespan." I took the bottle and ran my fingers over it thoughtfully. The womenfolk of the Duke of England's household had always taken donkey hide gelatin as a matter of habit. I never suspected anything untoward about it. It seems my gelatin ointment had been tampered with long ago. Seeing me lost in thought, Tan Fong said, "I will strictly inspect everything the lady uses and consumes from now on. I will ensure your safety." I shook my head wearily. "It can't be prevented. There are thieves who steal for 1,000 years, but no guard who can watch for 1,000 years. This situation was far too passive. I could endure it no longer." I gently pulled Tan Fang's hand toward me and said, word by word, "Since things have come to this, I won't hide it from you. Someone in the mansion wants to harm me. I cannot sit idly by and wait for death. Do you have any way to make it happen without anyone knowing?" Finishing, I made a throat-slitting gesture. Tan Fang's pupils dilated. Sweat beaded on her forehead as she knelt, declaring resolutely, "I am a physician. I swore an oath to heal the sick and study medicine all my life. Please forgive me, madam, but poisoning others, I simply cannot do it." I sighed. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Tan Fang's hands were clean. She held fast to a physician's integrity. I couldn't drag her into this. I hurriedly helped her up. "I was foolish. Don't take it to heart." Tan Fong lowered her head fearfully. "Madam, I am useless." I shook my head. "It's nothing. Murder. The palace surely had ways." After entering the palace, I exchanged pleasantries with my sister before getting to the point. Empress Song had assumed I came to thank her for recommending the physician. Unaware I sought her aid in murdering her own husband. She nearly spit out her tea, staring at me in shock and disbelief. "Sister, are you certain you wish to proceed?" I replied matter-of-factly. "What other choice do I have? Wait helplessly for my death?" I was already poisoned. This time it was donkey hide gelatin paste. Next time it could be silver ear fungus soup. I can't guard against it all. My sister pondered for a moment before saying, But are you certain Xia Zhao administered the poison? I don't believe him capable of such cruelty. Xia Zhao's appearance easily wins women's favor. Even my sister has always regarded him as a gallant gentleman. I could only reply, I've already sent Li Fu to investigate. The mansion is full of people and gossip. There are many who handle purchases and could have access. Even if we catch someone, we might not be able to interrogate them into revealing the mastermind behind it. But think about it. Sister, in the Duke of Ying's mansion, only a handful of people could have poisoned me. There aren't many masters in the Duke of Ying's mansion. The Duke and Duchess, my younger brother-in-law, my younger sister-in-law, my sister-in-law, and my husband, neither my in-laws, younger brother-in-law, sister-in-law, nor younger sister-in-law had motive to harm me. Only Xia Zhao obsessed with his long-dead beloved. My sister sighed gloomily. The crown prince is foolish. Taking Fangfei as a concubine would suffice. Why stir such trouble? I shook my head. Xia Zhao wants me gone to make way for Fangfei. A mere concubine's position, they wouldn't give it a second glance. Sister, Xia Zhao's death is for the best. Our Yuner is the sole heir of the main branch. The title of Duke of Ying will be his. I suddenly realized how ruthless I'd become. Empress Song nodded slowly. That does solve the problem at its root. I knew we sisters shared a deep bond. At this point, my sister spat out her hatred. The Shi family breeds nothing but seductresses. Come to think of it, this Shi Fangfei is actually Consort Xian's cousin. The Xian consort, the legitimate daughter of the loyal and valiant Marquis, had always kept a low profile in the palace, though not particularly favored. She bore the second prince. The second prince and the crown prince were not far apart in age and were often compared. The empress' dislike for the Shi family was nothing new, bound by shared enmity and, more importantly, for my own safety. My sister agreed to my plan. Empress Song gifted me a 9-turn yin-yang flask, crafted with secret techniques from the previous dynasty. It could dispense 2 distinct liquids, one capable of killing silently. Its most ingenious feature was that victims showed no signs of poisoning. Instead, they fell into a deep, irreversible slumber, appearing to die of heart failure. Once I had killed Xia Zhao, I would destroy the pot. Even if investigated, it would be nearly impossible to uncover any clues, even if someone in the Duke of Yinggong's household grew suspicious. Xia Zhao would already be dead. As Xia Yun's biological mother, Empress Song would naturally settle matters for me afterward. Thinking this through, I felt utterly at ease. Xia Zhao had killed me twice. I was only killing him once. That was already quite polite. That evening, I had Xiaoyu prepare a feast and sent word to the outer study, requesting the crown prince for a private discussion. The messenger reported Xia Zhao was in high spirits and had even rewarded her. Things were looking promising. That night, Xia Zhao arrived as invited. It had been over 10 days since we last met. Seeing him again felt like a lifetime had passed. Seeing me take the initiative to invite him, Xia Zhao assumed I had come to my senses. His demeanor was exceptionally warm, even bordering on attentive. As he served food onto my plate, I responded with a forced smile. Has the lattice health improved? He asked in a gentle tone. Much better, I replied, offering him a faint smile. Xia Zhao seemed to relax completely, gently taking my hand as if holding a precious jewel. Then I am relieved. After our last conversation, I thought long and hard about what you said. These past years, I have been at fault. I have wronged you. My lady, I only ask for a chance to make amends. From now on, let us live well together. Is that acceptable? After all these years of marriage, this was the first time I'd heard him speak so much in one breath. But how could he harm me and confess his feelings at the same time? Wasn't that a contradiction? I remained non-committal, only saying, today I had the kitchen prepare many of your favorite dishes, along with fine wine. Let's eat and talk. Xia Zhao's expression relaxed further as he eagerly replied, yes, yes. After 3 rounds of wine, Xia Zhao was sufficiently intoxicated. I discreetly signaled to Qiu Yu. Understanding the cue, she quietly approached and retrieved the wine flask. Unaware this was a deadly poison, the girl remained utterly composed. I took the flask, my palms sweating with tension. Murder and robbery truly not for the faint of heart. Taking a deep breath to steady myself, I poured Xia Zhao a cup of poisoned wine without a flicker of emotion. The wine swirled in the white jade cup like captivating amber. Once he drank it, my mortal peril would end, and everything would reach its conclusion, unnoticed. A thin sheen of sweat broke out on my forehead. I waited only for Xia Zhao to down the cup in one gulp. But Xia Zhao, who had been wearing a gentle, warm expression, suddenly froze upon seeing the wine flask. His eyes reddened, his Adam's apple bobbed, and in a hoarse voice he croaked, "Qingwan, you." I knew immediately it was bad. Xia Zhao came from a distinguished family. Could he possibly recognize this flask? This was truly dying before achieving victory. What alerted the snake, making future action far more difficult. In the blink of an eye, several countermeasures raced through my mind, stealing my nerves. I spoke slowly. "Your Highness, you're drunk. Perhaps you shouldn't drink anymore." At these words, Qiu Yu hurried over to take the flask. Xia Zhao snatched it back, barking at her. "Leave." Qiu Yu, confused by the turn of events, looked at me with concern. I gazed at Xia Zhao's dark, despairing expression and could only nod to her. Xia Zhao seemed to sober up instantly. He studied the wine flask for a moment before letting out a self-mocking laugh. "Qingwan, I don't quite understand you anymore." At this point, I found myself growing calm. Better to lay it all out in the open. If revealing this truth could persuade Xia Zhao to bring Fangfei back to the mansion, I could guarantee I wouldn't interfere with their union. We could live side by side without encroaching on each other's space. I chuckled softly. Why pretend otherwise? Who laced my donkey hide gelatin paste with poison? You started it, so I finished it. We're even. Xia Zhao frowned, puzzled. Donkey hide gelatin ointment. What do you mean? Are you trying to turn the tables on me? I scoffed. Stop pretending. Let's be clear, since you're Fangfei staying at Chang'e Mansion. The words carried their weight. Xia Zhao paled. Is this why you sought to kill me? I tugged at the corner of my mouth. No point in pretending anymore. You struck first, didn't you? I was merely defending myself. Xia Zhao chuckled softly before closing his eyes. I thought you were seeking retribution for my wrongs over the years. Little did I know. He laughed again. Seems I was just being overly sentimental. I was speechless. You can kill your lawful wife for sh. I Fangfei, but I can't fight back. Even if it causes a scandal. Am not afraid. Xia Zhao sneered coldly, then took a step closer. He clamped his hand on my jaw, his voice slightly trembling. Song Qingwan, is this how you see me? As a villain? After 10 years as husband and wife? Is this how you see me? I wrenched free of his grip and shoved him hard. Don't play the wounded victim. In these 10 years, have you ever fulfilled your duties as a husband? Have you ever shown me any concern? Xia Zhao, remember it is you who betrayed me. Xia Zhao stumbled back several steps, then spoke painfully. Sure, Fangfei and I. It's not what you think. The Xia and Sure families were close in the past, and we did meet a few times as children, but she never had feelings for me. Before her comingafage ceremony, she eloped with the family's calligraphy tutor. To cover up the scandal, the Sure family falsely claimed she had died. 2 months ago, her husband passed away, leaving her with nowhere to go. The Sure family refused to take her back, so I offered her some assistance. There was absolutely nothing improper about it. I froze. Sure Fangfei faked her death because she eloped. To abandon the position of wife to the esteemed heir of the Duke of Britain for such a thing, how could that be possible? I didn't believe it. Yet I couldn't find any other reason to refute it. Xia Zhao gazed deeply at me, raising his right hand. Wan Qing, I swear to heaven I never harmed you. Nor did I rekindle my relationship with Fei. Keeping this from you was my fault. But this matter concerns the reputation of our noble families. Involving you would only harm you, no matter what you think. You are my one and only wife. I intend to grow old with you. His solemn words stirred a wave of emotion within me. Had I not already died twice, I might have believed him. Then who poisoned me? Who administered the toxin? I asked coldly. Poison doesn't grow legs and crawl into one's food on its own. Xia Zhao paused for a breath before declaring firmly, rest assured, I will uncover the true culprit behind this. I will never place you in danger again. Then he released the 9-turn Yin pot, gently pushing it toward me. In the moment I faltered, Xia Zhao walked to the doorway. His back to me. I know your heart has grown cold. I was wrong before. In time, I will prove my sincerity to you. With that, he actually walked away. My heart relaxed. And I hurriedly called Xiaoyu over. I ordered her to smash the wine flask into pieces and scatter the shards into the lake. Destroy the evidence first. Only after watching Xiaoyu finish this task did my heart finally settle. From what Xia Zhao implied, he wasn't the one who attacked me. Even though I wanted to kill him, he didn't press the issue. His series of actions left me hesitant. If he truly wished to harm me, that moment had been his chance. He could have escalated the situation and used it as grounds to divorce me, with irrefutable evidence. Even Empress Song couldn't have said a word. But Xia Zhao didn't. My doubts deepened. Then there was Fei. My mother-in-law had clearly stated she and Xia Zhao were childhood sweethearts, nearly betrothed. Yet Xia Zhao claimed he and Fei were indifferent to each other. One of them must be lying to me. I thought the situation had become clear, but now it seemed shrouded in fog once more. To uncover the truth, I had Xiaoyu seek out some elderly servants from the Duke of England's residence to ask if they knew anything about those events from years past. Investigating these old matters now proved easier than when I first married into the household. After all, I'd been the mistress of the Duke of Britain's residence for 10 years, and as my senior maid, Xiaoyu carried considerable authority. Before long, she found an old woman named Sun, with whom she had a good rapport, and learned quite a bit. Sun had once served in my mother-in-law's quarters but was later punished for neglecting her duties due to excessive drinking and reassigned to guard the back gate. According to this Sun granny, Qiuyue reported, over a decade ago, the Xianxue families were quite close, even related by marriage. Related by marriage. That couldn't be right, having served as mistress of the Xia household for so many years. I knew the strict protocols governing visits between noble houses. The Xianxue families maintained only a superficial relationship. Qiuyu continued, Madam, you may not know this, but Sun Laonyang mentioned that our duke and the second son of the loyal and valiant Marquis' wife were cousins. After Lady Shi passed away, the Marquis' younger brother remarried. And that's when the two families gradually grew distant. Second sons, third sons, cousins. I frowned. Then what about Fei? Qiuyu explained. Fei is Lady Shi's daughter, the loyal and valiant Marquis' niece. After her mother passed, she must observe 3 years of mourning. Naturally, she cannot discuss marriage during this time. My confusion deepened. Xia Zhao claimed Fei eloped with someone during that critical period. But who would do such a thing while her mother's body was still cold? Qiuyu added. Old Sun didn't know the rest. She only said the family's daughter was favored by the duke, and the crown prince was also very attentive toward her. Before I could piece together the cause and effect, the following afternoon, Xia Zhao brought several bound and gagged individuals to my courtyard. He claimed these were the masterminds behind the plot against me. Interrogated overnight, the case solved in just 1 day. I scrutinized them, struggling to recognize the leader. Is this Lu, the purchasing steward from the outer courtyard? His face was beaten to a pulp, barely recognizable. Xia Zhao nodded. This scheming servant orchestrated everything. He's petty and malicious. 2 years ago, he sought to marry Qinxia from your quarters. After being rejected, he harbored resentment. Recently, he befriended a wandering physician who supplied him with poison that could harm people unnoticed. This audacious villain secretly laced your donkey hide gelatin ointment with it. Lu, the steward, was a lifelong servant of the Duke of Yingong's household, responsible for procuring goods for the estate. Indeed, all manner of items passed through his hands. After Xia Zhao finished speaking, Xie Quan pulled the rags from Steward Liu's mouth and barked. "Speak." Steward Liu wailed. "Madam, I deserve 1,000 deaths. I truly didn't know this was poison. My mind was clouded by greed. I was deceived too." I asked calmly. "For such a petty matter, you would poison me?" Liu wailed. "I truly loved Qinxia. She was the only one I could marry. Every time I thought of her, I burned with resentment. I deserve to die. I deserve to die." He knelt and banged his head on the floor, blood instantly streaming down his forehead. I recalled clearly that 2 years ago, he had indeed asked me for Qianxia's hand in marriage. Qinxia was a maid ID brought from my family home as part of my dowry. She was exceptionally beautiful, and my mother had intended her for Xia Zhao. She said that in prominent families, concubines were common. Qinxia was honest, lovely, and her contract was still in my possession, perfect for keeping her husband's heart. Unfortunately, Xie Zhao was wholly absorbed in his official duties and had no intention of taking a concubine. I had delayed Qinxia for several years, and later could only seek a husband for her. Upon hearing I was selecting a husband for Qinxia, many volunteered themselves, including Steward Liu and guard Sun from the outer courtyard. Given Qianxia's beauty, I reasoned she needed a man capable of protecting her, which made guard Sun from the outer courtyard a surprising choice. Qinxia had little will of her own, deferring to my arrangements in all matters, so I prepared her dowry and arranged her splendid marriage to guard Sun. Time proved my choice correct. Guard Sun was straightforward and open-hearted, cherishing Qinxia deeply. This year, he even followed Xie Zhao's path into the Golden Guard, now holding official rank. My thoughts drifted further and further away, while Manager Liu's wailing and lamenting still hadn't ended. This lowly servant deserves death 1,000 times over. I only beg the lady to spare my father and mother. In my next life, I will repay the latter's kindness. His clamor grew too loud, so I had Xie Quan gag him. Though everything appeared reasonable, I couldn't shake the feeling this was a meticulously staged performance designed to dispel my suspicions. Xie Zhao observed my expression, sensing my skepticism, and produced several sheets of paper. "Qingwan, I've thoroughly investigated every detail. This Liu steward's encounter with the wandering physician, their transaction, the amount of silver exchanged, and how the substance was later added to the donkey hide gelatin ointment all are documented with signed and sealed evidence." He handed the documents to me for review. I examined them one by one. Indeed, both witness testimony and physical evidence were complete. Included were the itinerant doctor's confession and the remaining poison, along with details of where Head found the toxic mushrooms and where Head successfully refined the poison. With matters having reached this point, I summoned Tan Fong to determine whether the leftover poison matched that in my donkey hide gelatin ointment. Tan Fong first sniffed it, then tasted a small amount before telling me, "Judging by the composition, it should be the same substance. If that was the case, Steward Liu must be the primary perpetrator behind this affair." But I didn't trust his explanation. There had to be a mastermind pulling the strings behind him. My poisoning wasn't severe now, but in my previous lives, I had always succumbed to illness after 3 or 4 years. Who would persistently poison someone for 4 or 5 years unless driven by a deep, personal vendetta like the murder of one's father or the theft of one's wife? Wouldn't that be too troublesome? After clarifying everything, Xie Quan had Manager Liu and his associates taken away, stating they would be handed over to the authorities for punishment. Before leaving, Xie Zhao said to me, "Qingwan, everything is clear now. Please don't doubt me anymore. I ask your forgiveness for my past shortcomings. From now on, I will. I will treat you well. I swear on my life. I have no intention of harming you. May heaven strike me down and damn me to eternal torment if I do." Seeing how solemn he was, I felt a momentary daze. After that, Xie Zhao did indeed treat me with utmost tenderness, as he had promised, and began to court my favor. He seemed like a different person, shedding the aloof reserve of a noble young master. After finishing his official duties each day, he would come to my courtyard to talk with me, and he never came empty-handed. He'd bring food from outside restaurants, buy me jewelry, or write love letters and sappy poems that made my skin crawl. Having lived through 3 lifetimes, I was no longer a 17 or 18-year-old girl. His behavior felt utterly childish. Yet everyone in my quarters rejoiced for me, especially Qiu Yu, who even thanked the heavens for Xie Zhao's change of heart. I found it unbearably tiresome. To escape him, I simply presented my token and entered the palace. My sister, Empress Song, heard about our family's mess and couldn't help but laugh. "From what I see, the one who hurt you wasn't the crown prince. Since he's sincerely seeking reconciliation, why not take the hint? You're still husband and wife. Can you really keep giving him the cold shoulder forever?" Seeing my silence, she continued, "He didn't even pursue you when you wanted his life. Just that magnanimity alone. A reformed rogue is worth his weight in gold." I covered my ears. Don't anyone try to persuade me. After a decade of neglect, why should I forgive Xie Zhao just because he sweet-talks me? Besides, I don't believe Xie Zhao has cleared himself of suspicion. My poisoning remains shrouded in mystery. As we sisters spoke, a eunuch arrived to announce that Consort Xian and Consort Qi had come to pay their respects. My sister's expression darkened instantly. She sneered. "TSK, TSK. The annoying ones are here." Soon after, Consort Xian and Consort Qi entered, each stepping with grace. Consort Xian smiled gently. "What a coincidence to find the crown prince's consort here." Consort Qi added, "Your complexion looks splendid, madam. Any secret elixir?" I recalled how I used to look like a bitter woman. No wonder my complexion was poor. But facing the 2 consorts, I could only respond politely. "Your Excellency flatters me. With them here to pay their respects." My sister and I could no longer continue our conversation. Empress Song exchanged a few lukewarm pleasantries before instructing the palace maid to serve some iced jelly. Consort Qi, as expected, merely praised it, took her portion, and began eating. But Consort Xian requested salt from the maid to sprinkle on hers before tasting it, adding with a smile, "Your Majesty, please don't take offense. I simply prefer it this way." Empress Song offered a forced smile, replying, "If it pleases you." Yet this scene made my blood run cold. Besides Consort Xian, I knew only one other person who added salt to ice cream: Xie Zhao. As if something flashed through my mind, I couldn't help but scrutinize Consort Xian. She was about my age, dressed in a flowing yet elegant blue court gown embroidered with bamboo patterns. That was Xie Zhao's favorite style. Events from over a decade ago, childhood sweethearts, deaths I failed to escape twice. A tiny detail seemed to link every mystery together. The truth, like a long-buried relic, gradually came into view. On the very night I planned to kill Xie Zhao, he declared with absolute certainty that he and Fangfei were heartless. In truth, Li Fu had also mentioned that Xie Zhao had never spent the night at Chang'e Pavilion. Fangfei was less a mistress and more a duty. Yet back then, my mother-in-law claimed Xie Zhao had fallen for the Shi family's daughter, and it was her death that left him so despondent. I had always believed one of them, mother or son, was lying, but now it seems neither deceived me. A startlingly bold conjecture suddenly struck me. The woman Xie Zhao loved over a decade ago wasn't the Shi Fangfei of Chang'e Pavilion today, but rather the current emperor's virtuous consort Shi Manhua. This revelation suddenly made everything make sense. Over a decade ago, when the Duke of Ying's cousin was still alive, the Shi and Xie families were on excellent terms. naturally visiting each other frequently. The two young ladies of the Shi family, Shi Fangfei and Shi Manhua, though not sisters by the same mother, were cousins of similar age and frequently visited the Xia household. It was during this period that Xia Zhao and Shi Fangfei came to know each other. Yet before their betrothal could be formalized, Shi Fangfei's mother passed away suddenly from illness. Thus, she was bound to observe 3 years of mourning for her mother, and the marriage was naturally delayed. Meanwhile, seeking to advance his family's prestige, the loyal and valiant Marquis resolved to send his daughter Shi Manhua to the imperial palace. But Shi Manhua had already developed a secret affair with the family's calligraphy and painting tutor. To evade entering the palace, she took the tutor's valuables and gold, resolutely eloping with him. This constituted treason. The loyal and valiant Marquis already lacked the current emperor's favor. Such an incident could easily lead to the revocation of his title and the confiscation of his family's assets. With no other choice, the Shi family sent Shi Fangfei to the palace in Shi Manhua's stead, the very woman now known as the virtuous consort. Thus, Shi Fangfei is Shi Manhua, and Shi Manhua is Shi Fangfei. Faced with this turn of events, Xia Zhao's resentment was futile. The relationship between the two families gradually cooled. Later, Xia Zhao married me, and Shi Fangfei became the virtuous consort. She remained low-key and humble, avoiding strife and competition. With favorable fortune, she bore the second prince, securing her foothold within the palace. The sisters' identity swap was like a pebble tossed into a stream. It stirred no ripples. On the surface, this incident seemed unrelated to my death. Yet tracing back from the outcome reveals it was the very catalyst that sealed my fate. The key lies with the second prince. The second prince was bright and studious, gentle and magnanimous. Only a year younger than the crown prince, he was a strong contender for the throne, though the Duke of Britain's household had married me, making them seen as natural allies of Empress Song and the crown prince. Their true support had always been for the second prince. No wonder the second prince's maternal family remained low-key yet consistently acted with purpose and maintained an excellent reputation. It must be the Duke of Britain orchestrating everything behind the scenes, secretly nurturing him. Their motives are straightforward. First, no matter how the Duke of Britain behaves toward the crown prince, he can never surpass my father and brother. But with consort Xian, it's different. The Marquis of Loyalty and Valor is incompetent and incapable of great deeds, allowing the Duke of Britain to seize absolute power. Second, the Duke of Britain and the second prince share blood ties, though others may not know it. Supporting the second prince, whether for familial bonds or personal gain, will yield richer rewards in the future. As for why he must eliminate me, though as a daughter-in-law my voice carries little weight, I am still the wife of the crown prince. Suddenly, I felt like laughing. I couldn't help but burst into laughter. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Empress Song and the two consorts startled, asking, "What's wrong? Has something happened?" Yet I doubled over laughing. Tears streamed down my face. So that's how it was. My unreliable mother-in-law hadn't deceived me after all. Over the decade-long years I spent with Xia Zhao, he had truly grown to love me. My place in his heart grew heavier day by day, even influencing his political choices. The moment the Duke of Ying discovered his son favored the crown prince more because of his wife, my death was near. So, the love I had always yearned for was the very death warrant for both my lives. The Duke of Ying truly lived up to his reputation as a veteran statesman and trusted advisor. What a masterful scheme. In both past lives, to achieve his grand ambitions, he eliminated me without a trace, leaving no one suspicious. Perhaps he harbored murderous intent long ago, which is why he took my son, Xia Yun, away. And precisely because Xia Yun was there, the Song family remained at ease, and Empress Song and the crown prince continued to trust the Duke of Ying's loyalty. The Duke of Ying, meanwhile, openly repaired the mountain pass while secretly crossing the Qinsong Pass. Truly brilliant. As for Xia Zhao, after the donkey hide gelatin incident, he must have discovered that Manager Liu acted on the Duke of Ying's orders. That's why he only revealed a partial truth to me. How foolish I was. After my rebirth, I'd been fixated on trivial details, never realizing my death was intertwined with the grand scheme of court politics and family choices. Sorting through it all, I wiped the tears from my eyes, though these were merely my conjectures. There remained one person who could verify whether my suspicions held true. After leaving the palace, I had my carriage driven straight to Changle Lane. Upon arriving at the private residence in Changle Lane, I led my men directly inside. The gatekeeper's family, also from the Duke of Britain's estate, fell silent upon seeing me, standing obediently with hands clasped at their sides. As I stepped into the main hall, a maid rushed out, shouting, "Who are you people? How dare you barge in without announcing yourselves?" My attendants immediately seized the maid. "Chiu Yu," sneered haughtily, "a servant of a concubine dares not kneel before my mistress. How dare you?" She had always believed the Changle Pavilion housed Xie Zhao's concubine and felt deeply indignant on my behalf. The maid finally looked stunned, crying out, "Our young mistress is no concubine. Don't insult her." I ignored her, saying only, "Bring Shir out. I have questions for her." Just then, a woman's voice came from within the hall. "What might the mistress require? I am but a widow, living quietly and unassumingly, merely watching my step through each day." With that, a woman emerged from behind the curtain. She wore plain white robes, her face free of makeup, around 27 or 28. She bore a striking resemblance to consort Xian 7 or 8 parts alike, though her features held a hint of sorrow. Lacking the serene grace of the consort, these two truly were sisters. Such striking resemblance must have enabled their identity swap. I sneered coldly. "What nonsense are you spouting, sister? Having followed the young master, you are naturally part of the Duke of Ying's household. My purpose in coming is to escort you both back." The woman paled, her fingers clenching the handkerchief as she whispered, "Madam, you truly misunderstand. I have no connection to young Master Xia." I fixed her with a steady gaze and drew out each word. "Is that so?" "Sure Man Hua." At the sound of that name, she trembled violently, staring at me in utter terror, her mouth agape. Unable to utter a single syllable, her reaction spoke volumes. My suspicions were confirmed. After a long moment, Sure Man Hua lowered her head. "I knew the Crown Prince and you shared a deep bond. I never imagined he would tell you even these things." I sighed, continuing to draw her out. "Sure Man Hua, do you regret your choice back then? Had you not eloped, you would be the virtuous consort today." The woman before me, Sure Man Hua, lifted her head and murmured softly, "What's done is done. There's no point dwelling on it now." She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and sighed wistfully. "Besides, I never truly intended to elope. It was all just fate playing tricks." "You didn't want to elope?" I asked, puzzled. Sure Man Hua shook her head with self-mockery. "You don't know, madam. The consort Zion me cousin found the letter my late husband wrote to me before I entered the palace. She wanted to take my place there. So she threatened to expose our affair if I didn't agree to elope with him. If I refused, she'd hand over the letter, revealing to everyone that I'd been secretly involved with another man." As if seizing a rare chance to speak her mind, she gazed at me. "Princess consort. Someone like me would be useless in the palace. Only my cousin belongs there. Wouldn't you agree?" I stood speechless. I had only intended to confirm the sisters' identity swap, but never imagined such hidden depths lay beneath. Sure Fangfei is close to Xie Zhao. She could become the crown prince's consort of the Duke of Britain. Isn't that far better than entering the palace? I asked. Concubines do hold ranks, yet they remain imperial consorts, forever subordinate to my elder sister, Empress Song. Sure Man Hua shook her head. As a member of the Xie family, you should know Lady Xia's temperament. She knows the Sure family is nothing but an empty shell now and has always looked down on my cousin. Even with the Duke of Ying's backing, she'd spend most of her married life living with her mother-in-law. How could my cousin possibly accept that? So it was her choice to enter the palace. even at the cost of forcing her cousin away. On the way back, I kept my eyes closed and remained silent. Did Xie Zhao know how scheming consort Xian truly was? Since he could care for Sherman Hua, he must have known. He believed his beloved had parted from him out of utter helplessness, treating me coldly all these years. But in truth, Shi Fangfei had simply grown tired of him. People climb upward, water flows downward. Unscrupulous enough to frame her own cousin, entering the palace to seek favor while her mother's body was still warm. Xian Fei truly is a remarkable figure. I suddenly opened my eyes. What should I do now? Now that I finally know the Duke of Ying is the one who wants me dead, can Xie Zhao stop him? Should I still entrust my life to someone else? The answer is no. A smile touched my lips. Didn't Xie Zhao love me? For now, I would exploit that affection. Upon returning to the manor, Xie Zhao awaited me in the courtyard. 4 days. Had spoken of seeking a rare Yaoqin zither crafted by a master artisan of the previous dynasty, offering a hefty reward. The moment I stepped through the courtyard gate, I heard the melodious strains of a zither. Xie Zhao was playing in the courtyard. The music was enchanting, mournful and plaintive. It seemed he had found the legendary instrument. Alas, I had no heart left to appreciate it. Seeing me return, Xie Zhao smiled. You're back. Come see this zither. I stood rooted to the spot, gesturing for everyone present to withdraw. Only after they had all left did I speak. I visited Changle Lane today. You must have heard about it. My every word and action would naturally be reported to Xie Zhao. Xie Zhao paused before replying. Then you should also know that my relationship with her is entirely pure and innocent. I raised an eyebrow. Truthfully, I care not for your relationship with Shi Fangfei or Sherman Hua. There's a saying, when the sovereign commands death, the subject must obey. But no one says that when a father-in-law commands his daughter-in-law to die, she must obey. Though I am a wife of the Xie family, I am also a daughter of the Song family. Xie Zhao froze. He lowered his eyes and murmured, "What are you talking about?" I didn't answer. Instead, I handed him the paper in my arms. Your Highness, here is a letter of divorce. Please sign it. Xie Zhao's expression changed abruptly. He gritted his teeth. Qingwan, I don't know what idle gossip you've been listening to. I said I would never let anything happen to you again. I slammed the table, sending the precious chain crashing to the floor. With a thunderous crash, the priceless instrument was shattered. You know exactly who harmed me. You know how perilous my situation is. Yet you destroy evidence and divert suspicion. What are your true intentions? I, Song Qingwan, have toiled for the Xie family for 10 years, though I deserve to be killed by you. We can divorce and drop this matter. But if you push me too far, well, take this to His Majesty and see who truly holds the moral high ground. Xie Zhao was rendered speechless by my confrontation. A flicker of anguish crossed his eyes as he pulled me close. Qingwan, I've made it clear to my father. If anything happens to you, he'll follow you in death. He won't lay a finger on you again. I gave a cold laugh. Is that so? Then I suppose I should thank you. Thank you for sparing my life. Xie Zhao gripped my shoulders. Qingwan, trust me once more. Just once more. Seeing the moment was ripe, I suddenly threw myself into Xie Zhao's arms, burying my face in sobs. Husband, please spare me. I can't bear living in constant fear. For all the years I've loved you truly. For the sake of our union, sign this divorce papers and let me live my own life. My sobs were wretched and pitiful. Xie Zhao held me tightly, his voice filled with anguish. I won't let anything happen to you. If anything does, I won't survive alone. I rolled my eyes inwardly. Who wants to die with you? Am I that pathetic? But I couldn't say that now. Instead, I sobbed. You mustn't defy father. The Duke has more than one son. There's your second brother. His wife is favored more than I am. If you lose your position as heir because of me, wouldn't that be my fault? One can forsake love, but never loyalty or filial piety. These words, both heartfelt and reasonable, struck straight at Xie Zhao's core. Seeing him frozen, speechless, I sobbed. Now that I'm a thorn in the Duke's side, what meaning is there in staying? Better to part ways amicably, who knows? Perhaps we'll reunite someday. Xie Zhao closed his eyes in anguish. I cannot live without you, Qing Wan. I pressed a gentle kiss to his lips. I will wait for you. I only ask that you grant me a path to freedom. When you are free to make your own decisions, I will return. After exhausting every possible means, I finally obtained the divorce decree. Truthfully, I'd long since made up my mind. Given the current situation, escalating matters would only harm me. The evidence of the Duke of Ying's plot against me had already been purged by Xie Zhao, and that petty steward Liu had been brought to justice. Even if I took these suspicions to His Majesty, they'd be dismissed as a family affair. Once labeled a family matter, a single word filial piety would crush me. How could the Duke of Ying ever grant me a divorce? He would only feign kindness before seeking another opportunity to strike. Therefore, I had no choice but to leave. As long as I was no longer the Xie family's daughter-in-law, I could stand against them. The moment Xie Zhao was summoned by the Duke, I hastily gathered some belongings and rushed straight to the front courtyard to take Xie Yin away. Without even returning to my natal home, I entered the palace with the child. Empress Song was startled to see me and Xie Yin suddenly divorced and returning in such a manner. What on earth is going on? She demanded. I clenched my fists tightly. Sister, it's a long story. I then recounted everything to my sister. The forced marriages of the Sher sisters, the Duke of Ying's insincere obedience, and his secret communications with the imperial harem. Empress Song trembled with rage, cursing, that old scoundrel, the Duke of Ying, he's gone too far. I replied calmly, Sister, don't lose your temper. The emperor is in the prime of his life, yet this man meddles in the selection of princes. He dares to interfere in imperial affairs, corrupting innocent children with his scheming. You must report this to His Majesty. And then there's Consort Xian, clearly Shi Fangfei, yet pretending to be Shi Manhua, entering the palace during her mother's mourning period. This traps His Majesty in a position of unkindness and disloyalty. I've already secured Shi Manhua. It's up to you, sister, how to use this. Empress Song nodded, her voice cold with amusement. His Majesty values filial piety above all. Should he learn Consort Xian entered the palace less than 2 months after her mother's death, impersonating her cousin, he will surely reject her. I interjected. Such a woman is unfit to raise an imperial prince. It seems sister will have to shoulder the responsibility of caring for him. Empress Song regarded me with satisfaction. Killing 3 birds with 1 stone, a brilliant move. Sister, I sneered. All thanks to my dear father-in-law's excellent teaching. Empress Song orchestrated the subsequent events with seamless precision. First, she had the censor-in-chief impeach Consort Xian and the Duke of Ying for secret collusion. Naturally, the Consort Xian and the Duke of Ying wouldn't sit idly by. Panicked, they launched a fierce counterattack. But their actions were too swift, too coordinated. The emperor noticed, and it made him deeply uneasy. Only then did Empress Song bring the real Shi Manhua into the palace. She had her plead her case to the emperor, revealing the Consort Xian's true identity and the events of years past. Having suffered so terribly at the hands of Consort Xian, Shi Manhua had long yearned for revenge. Now that day had come. She felt utterly vindicated. Moreover, after her return, the Shi family had completely rejected her. Were it not for Xie Zhao, she might well have perished long ago. Promised rich rewards by Empress Song, Shi Manhua willingly switched sides. In an instant, both the Shi family and Consort Xian found themselves utterly defenseless. They naturally countered, declaring Shi Manhua a liar who had fled with another man in utter disregard for propriety. But Empress Song produced further evidence. Servants from the Shi household who could testify to the sisters' identity swap, and the second prince's current tutor, secretly procured by the Duke of Ying. with both sides locked in dispute. It all hinged on whom His Majesty would choose to believe. Fortunately for the Empress, this matter struck a nerve with His Majesty. The Emperor was furious. He had never particularly favored Consort Xian, granting her favor only because of her role in bearing an heir. Learning of her scheming and treacherous nature, the Emperor even contemplated executing her to end the matter once and for all. Only Empress Song's intervention, pleading for leniency for the sake of the second prince, spared her from the death sentence. Instead, she was banished to the cold palace. Next, His Majesty severely reprimanded the Duke of Britain, stripping him of all his official duties and ordering him to reflect on his actions in seclusion. The once illustrious Duke of Britain's household was suddenly cast into shadow. Xie Zhao was utterly blindsided by this chain of events, knowing my hand was behind it all. He desperately sought an audience, demanding to know why I had reneged on our agreement. But I paid him no mind, sending only a message through an intermediary. Parting frees us both. May each find joy in their own path. Xie Zhao waited for a full month. Finally, on a rainy night, he collapsed unconscious by the roadside and never returned. With my assistance, Empress Song emerged triumphant. The Duke of Ying's years of scheming crumbled to nothing, and he burned with hatred, wishing me dead. But I was no longer his daughter-in-law, held no sway over me. To exact vengeance, he repeatedly demanded Xia Yun from the Song family, declaring had accepted divorce but refused to let the child be taken. That old villain sought to use the child to bind me. How could I not guard against such a ploy? I had my sister issue an imperial decree directly, selecting Xia Yun as the crown prince's tutor. From now on, he would live and dine within the palace alongside the crown prince, never to return for years. After the decree was proclaimed, my father sneered coldly. Your Excellency, did you hear that? Our Song family never claimed Xia Yun. This child bears the Xie surname, and that will never change. My brother was even more ruthless. He is your family's eldest legitimate grandson. Rest assured, my sister will care for him well in the palace after all. This child is destined to inherit the Duke of Ying's estate. Wahahaha. The Duke of Ying clutched his chest. You've gone too far. He never imagined this grandson, treated like a mere pawn, would use this very identity to turn the tables on him. Thanks to him, I've mastered the art of going with the flow. For now, the Duke must keep the child. But when he dies, he'll have Empress Song orchestrate everything so our Yuner inherits the title. After all, this child is blood of the Xie family. So I won't destroy the Duke's estate just yet. He'll need to return there as a retired noblewoman someday. After returning from the Song residence, the Duke of Britain fell gravely ill. He lingered on his deathbed for over a year before passing away. I heard that in his final moments, he murmured, "Huier, I've wronged you. Huier, I'm coming." I sent people to investigate. Who is this Huier? It was only after questioning Sherman Hua that I learned Huier was the noble consort in the Cold Palace, the maiden name of Shi Fangfei's mother. Further tales from elders revealed that in his youth, the Duke of Ying had loved his cousin, yet her family's decline left him powerless against his parents' choice. Forcing their sorrowful parting, he channeled that love and regret into Shi Fangfei, explaining his extraordinary devotion to her. He disregarded the Shi family's fall from grace, consenting to Fangfei's marriage into his household. Even after being betrayed by Shi Fangfei, he continued to support her and the second prince, going so far as to sacrifice Mei's legally wedded, blameless daughter-in-law. Empress Song and I sighed in unison. So the Duke of Britain was a hopeless romantic after all. Empress Song replied, "And what of Xie Zhao?" After the Duke of Britain's death, Xie Zhao inherited the title. His reputation remained impeccable, diligent in duty, upright and principled, gradually restoring the British Duke's household to its former prestige. These past years, Xie Zhao has waited foolishly for my change of heart, writing letters without cease, hoping I would return. His Majesty and the Empress remain satisfied with him, urging me to remain faithful to my vows and bring the children back for family reunion. The Song family shared this sentiment. After pondering, I sought Xia Yun's opinion. Having grown older these years, he naturally formed his own views. Yet Xia Yun replied, "Mother should do as she wishes. I believe the choice rests entirely with you. Indeed, me destiny lies in my own hands." Could anything be more comforting than that? The end.